Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 25 of our back to school month, our look at our 30 favorite albums of our high school years. That's right, 30 days of September. Our 30 favorite albums that we love the most, listen to the most during that very special time, our last 4 years at school here in the States, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Ages 14 through 18 for me anyway. My high school years were 1980 and 1984. So remember, these albums don't have to have been released during those 4 years, but they were the ones that you listened to all the time. This particular one was released during that 4 year period, released in October of 1982, as a matter of fact, for the Chrysalis label, produced by Martin Birch, the third record from the Michael Schenker group, Assault Attack. The one and only album with Graham Bonnet on all lead vocals. Of course, Graham and Michael in more recent years have gotten together in Michael Schenker Fest and whatnot, where Graham has shared co-lead vocals with various other folks who have sang for the Michael Schenker group. But for this particular album, it's all him. They did the album, they went to go do the tour, and what was it, the first night of the tour, Graham got kind of loaded on stage and said some things he shouldn't have said, maybe exposed something he shouldn't have exposed, and bloop, that's it. Gary Barden's back in the band, just like that, which is a real shame because this is a terrific lineup. Graham on vocals, Michael Schenker on guitar, Chris Glenn on bass guitar, and of course the legendary Ted McKenna on drums, with a little keyboards from Tommy Iyer, who of course played with lots of people, including Gary Moore. This is a classic MSG album. You could make an argument for the first MSG album and the second MSG album as well. Quite frankly, I listened to all three of them a ton during my high school years. I loved all three of them. I was an enormous Michael Schenker fan then. I am an enormous Michael Schenker fan still now. I remember, God, when I was getting into UFO, right? Just not long before these albums started coming out. I was like, man, I love this band. I love Michael Schenker. Oh, he's not in the band anymore? What? And then you turn around and there's the first MSG album. And like, oh, well, this is great too. Yes. So, good time to be a hard rock and metal fan in the early 80s. Really, really was. But yeah, I remember when this came out, again, no internet back then. So news traveled really slowly about like who was in lineups, who was singing, who left, who came in, who got fired, you didn't hear about this stuff till way late, unless you were reading all the magazines. But even when you were reading the magazines, the news came, by the time you got a new issue of a hard rock or metal magazine, what you're reading about already happened months ago. So by the time we heard that Gary Barden had left after the second MSG album, and they brought in Graham Bonnet, previously of Rainbow, right? By the time all that happened and the album came out, Graham was basically just about already out of the band, right? So it's like things just happen so fast and you didn't really know much about anything. So here, killer album. Love the production of this album. To me, it's the best best sounding MSG album from the early ones anyway. Assault Attack, the title track, kicks it off. Hard and heavy, great riffs. You got Rock You to the Ground, which, if I remember correctly, was one of the songs I heard on the radio. Because again, back in the day, they played, in the early 80s, they played some, stuff like this on rock radio before it was called classic rock radio. Dancer, great tune. That, I don't even know if that was released as a single or not. That probably should have been the hit here. Yeah, Dancer. Dancer was released as a single in 1982. That's a really good, catchy song. Samurai. Samurai is terrific. Great guitar solo on that. One of the best songs on the album for me. Desert Song, tremendous. Good, moody, heavy, right? Great riffing. Fantastic Graham Bonnet vocals. It's my favorite Graham Bonnet album of all time. Broken Promises, good, raunchy, rockin' song. Searching for a Reason. Again, more commercial sounds on that one. Then you got the great Ulcer, right? Let's end it with a cool instrumental. So many great songs on here. Man, what's my favorite? I don't know. Samurai is killer. Assault Tech is great. Desert Song. I mean, they're all amazing. This is just a top-notch, doesn't stop from start to finish. And then, of course, you got Girl from Uptown, which is the B-side of the Dancer Signal, which is on the remaster, right? Yeah, the remastered edition. Just a great album. And again, just one of those instances where by the time we heard about the fact that Graham was already out of the band, so many of us were so disappointed because this is such a great album and we just wanted to hear more and more and more from them. But Graham came back before you blinked, and there's Alcatraz. The first Alcatraz album, which, if you recall, if you've been following along this entire month, was either my first pick of the month, day of the month, or second. It was in the first couple days, and I listened to that a ton too. So I became an enormous Alcatraz fan, a lot because of Yngwie, but also because of the greatness that was Graham Bonnet during this time period. I just absolutely loved him on here, and it was an auto buy for me to go get this new group he put together called Alcatraz. And then once you got that Alcatraz album, you started hearing that. I was like, whoa, who is this Yngwie Malmsteen guy, right? I love it. But this classic, this to this day remains my favorite Michael Schenker album. And, it was a tough choice because those first two I listened to a ton as well. But I went with this one because this, to me, I probably played this the most, and even though all three of them are very, very special to me, I went with Assault Attack. So that is my pick for today, day 25. Tune in tomorrow for day 26. We are running out of days, guys. We've only got, the rest of this week. That's it. Friday's the last day, and then we move on to something completely different for October. I've got October and November all lined up. October is going to be what was originally supposed to be September, before I decided to ditch the idea for a month in favor of this. In October, I'm going to be talking about my favorite kind of dual guitar bands. Those dual guitar teams. So it's mostly going to be team based, right? So those bands that had those two guitar players that work so well together. So each and every day during the month, I'm going to give you another one of those bands, and maybe I'll have my favorite album from that particular guitar duo. And then we had something that was asked for real recently, which I actually kind of really like, and this will be for November, and it'll be my favorite female-fronted bands, rock, metal, hard rock, prog, whatever it might be. So my 30 favorite bands that had a woman singing for them. So that'll be November. I think that'll be kind of cool too. So I'll give a little bit of love to the ladies for the month, right? So that'll be in November. So stay tuned for that, and lots more here. So of course, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. All together, all the damn time. Stay tuned. In just a little bit, we've got myself and Ken Golden will be ranking the albums from a great Swedish prog band named Anekdoten. And if you're watching this right now and you're like, I don't even know, Pete, I don't know who Anekdoten is, well, watch this episode. You're going to want to get to know who Anekdoten are. A fantastic prog band that I had, revisiting their catalog again over the last couple of weeks has been a tremendous joy. They're one of those bands that I've always really liked, but when you listen to so much stuff and it's sometimes they're a band you really dig and you don't revisit them for a long time, years even. Well, that was kind of the case with Anekdoten, so it was really fun to go revisit this catalog and just get back into it all over again and give you guys a ranking. So that's coming up in just a little bit. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got the return of the Hudson Valley Squares after a week off. And it's that thrash metal show we've been wanting to do for a couple weeks now. So basically, we all know who the big four have been deemed as the big four of thrash, right? Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth, right? Well, what if there was no four of those? Who would be our big four of thrash? There's lots of great thrash bands, past, present, and whatever. So if those other four, those big four, were not around, who's the next four? So everybody on the panel will be giving their take on who those four would be for each of us, and our favorite albums from each one of them. So that's coming up tomorrow night. So if you're a thrash metal fan, I know all you metalheads love watching the Hudson Valley Squares. This is going to be a good one. So we've got Bryce from Bryce Talks Metal will be sitting in with the crew coming up tomorrow as well. So it'd be good to have Bryce back again on the channel. In fact, it'll be good to see Bryce in person because Bryce is going to be at SOT Fall Fest as well on Saturday. This Saturday coming up on October 1st. So not only will you get to meet Martin Popoff and myself and in the Prague seat and Hudson Valley Squares and the Monsters Den folks, Bryce from Bryce Talks Metal will also be on hand at Fall Fest. So this is going to be a lot of fun, folks. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet and you're close enough to the chance where you can get here fairly easily, what are you waiting for? It's going to be a fun day, man. Pat Travers Band, Vanilla Fudge, featuring the great Carmine Appice, the great 70s band Nectar, Sonus Umbra, Louis Nasser's very cool prog band from Chicago area. We've got Epic Tantrum, the great prog band from upstate New York. Chris Caffrey's in the house, going to be doing a Q&A with him and all you folks. Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash doing the exact same thing. So it's a fun-filled day. It's going to be great. So we're looking forward to hanging and seeing all of you and at the chance. And it's just a few days away. So we'll see you later, everybody. I'm Pete Pardo. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.